News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. We're back here on the FE program, making radio great again, bringing the golden age of radio back to Huntsville and everywhere, honestly. If you miss any of the show live, check out the podcast anywhere podcasts are available. So we might be headed towards watching a full-fledged war between India and Pakistan. This is just wonderful. Now, I know the history of the two countries. I don't really know what started this specifically. There's been talk that they're going after terrorists in Pakistan, and I understand that. I mean, they've had divisions since the creation of Pakistan's, and before that between the Hindu population and the Muslim population in India, which is why they split into two different countries to begin with, and all of that stuff under Gandhi. You know all about that. But to get the latest news, actually, Kelsey, go ahead and play the India cut I sent you. This is kind of the latest Fox News report, just to kind of get us up to speed on it. Go and play the India cut.
Pakistan's Prime Minister calls it an act of war. India says it's hit 9 locations housing terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan and Pakistan-controlled Kashmir. In response, cross-border shelling, which according to the Indian militaries resulted in several civilian deaths. Pakistan claims to have shot down a number of Indian fighter jets. The Indian strikes came in retaliation to a mass shooting by militants in India-administered Kashmir last month. 26 people, mainly tourists, were killed. India blames Pakistan, which denies involvement. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
All right, so the reason why everyone's concerned about this, obviously, is both India and Pakistan have nuclear weapons. And that's pretty concerning, but I got to tell you, as bad as this situation could get, and it could get bad, it kind of reminded me once again of why we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. Because as bad as this is, it seems like at least India and Pakistan, they're not going to use nukes against each other. But let's say instead of India and Pakistan, let's say it's Iran and Saudi Arabia that are fighting against each other, which they are kind of now. But let's say it was a full-fledged war between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Do you trust Iran not to use a nuke? Do you even trust Saudi Arabia not to use a nuke? Because what would happen is if Iran gets nuclear weapons, Saudi Arabia would try to get it. You have an arms race. But would you trust Iran not to use a nuke in that situation? So we're all freaking out now because we're not sure we trust India or Pakistan. Imagine if the Iranian mullahs have a nuclear weapon. Unfortunately, I know, yes, we have a lot of people in the isolationist MAGA movement. There's a part of the MAGA movement that's become very isolationist. They say they're conservative. You know, they are in some things, but there's some that are very isolationist. Marjorie Taylor Greene's one of them. And I just can't understand how they think, who cares? Who cares if Iran gets a nuke? We should all care. Because they'll kind of say in response, Iran wouldn't nuke the United States. One, they don't even have to nuke us directly. They can just kind of funnel it to terrorists, and terrorists can do it against us, backed by Iran. Is that something you want? But you say, they're not going to nuke us. How do you know? But let's not even say us. I know I've said this before, but imagine Iran, when you wake up, Iran has nuked Saudi Arabia, the oil fields. Imagine they've nuked Egypt or the Suez Canal. Imagine they've nuked Israel or someplace in Europe or someplace in Africa. Oh, that doesn't really affect us. We'll be fine here. Are you sure? It's a much smaller world than it used to be. I just think we're in very dangerous territory. Now, the good news is it seems that the Trump administration is kind of understanding this as well, even though some are trying to push him in a different direction. Trump talked about it this week. Go ahead if you can, Kelsey. Play Trump cut one because he was asked about Iran.
The administration has had conversations with Iran. Is the goal of these talks limiting Iran's nuclear program or total dismantlement?
Total dismantlement.
That's all you'll accept?
That's all I'd accept.
I mean, that's good. It seems like he is not playing a game here. I've been worried that he's going to want to make some kind of similar deal with Iran that Obama made. I just don't think that's good. I mean, we're still in this mess because Obama didn't deal with it. Go ahead and play Trump Cut 2 because he was asked about it as well yesterday.
We want it to be a successful country. We don't want to do anything that's going to get in the way of that, but they can't have a nuclear weapon. And if they choose to go a different route, it's going to be a very sad thing. And it's something we don't want to have to do, but we have no choice. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
I mean, this is what I want to hear. That kind of strong talk. Because I believe Trump. I believe Trump is very serious about this. That there is just no circumstance where we can allow Iran, the terrorist regime there, to have a nuclear weapon. I mean, think about it. Think about what Hamas, the death cult that is Hamas, think about what they did to Israel, the viciousness. Who are they backed by? They were backed by Iran. So you're telling me Iran will back something as evil as what happened on October 7th in Israel. But, if they get a nuke, they probably won't use it. I mean, you really want to take that risk? And like I said, I don't buy this argument that, we're going to have to go to another forever war. Nobody's talking about that. We're talking about taking out their nuke ability. And Israel probably do most of the work. It would be mostly airstrikes. We're not talking about a full-fledged invasion. And everyone knows that. So those who are trying to fear-monger and say, this is going to bring us to another war, I seriously doubt that. I don't think Trump wants that. Nobody wants that. It's really just about stopping them from getting a nuclear weapon. I mean, it seems as plain as day, easy to see, clear. We don't want terrorists to get it. And then basically the regime is a terrorist regime. So what's going on in India and Pakistan is scary, but it's also a lesson on why we can't let Iran have a similar nuke. All right, we're going to move on to some lighter things, of course. Kelsey Kapowski is here, so we'll get to what's trending. Then we have my closing thoughts after that. You're listening to the Yaffe program. Back in a moment.
The Yaffe program.